p.m. Do a roll call. Councilmember Abdul Rashid, Councilmember Corbett,
Here.
Councilmember Easton,
Here.
Councilmember Gorm Butler,
Present.
Councilmember Jones Bell,
Here.
Councilmember Maryville Jr.,
Yes.
Council President Williams.
Present.
Also present, Madeline Smith, Deputy Clerk, City Attorney, Mr. White, Adrian Mapp, Acting Business Administrator, Kevin Harris, Legislative Research Officer, and Margaret Hamir, Clerk's Office. Please stand for a moment of silence.
Thank you.
Please be apprised, anyone wishing to discuss agenda or general items can sign one book. There will be 2 columns in the book, one for agenda items and one for general issues. Each person signing the book will check agenda items or general issues. If they check only agenda items or general issues, they will be allowed to speak for 5 minutes. If they check general issues and agenda items, they will be allowed to speak for 10 minutes. The requirements of NJSA 10:4-9 et seq. Sunshine Law has been met. A notice of this meeting was sent to the Orange Record and published in the Star Ledger on December 20th, 2013, posted on the bulletin board in the City Hall, and filed in the office of the Municipal Clerk.
At this time, we'll have the presentations. The first presentation is for Pastor Baltimore. Councilwoman Easton. Whatever your pleasure. I would love. Do you want to?
You should.
You want to family Pastor Stackhouse.
We're going to ask the family if you guys want to stand, because
Councilwoman Easton.
even though I know this is his biological daughter, you all, and his mother and his wife, that you all were his family. I was going to say,
You want to come up to with the mic? Or,
yeah, they could come up if they want. They can come up.
and then if somebody needs a chair, we can sit a chair by
Yeah, by his mother, by
Councilwoman.
his sister, I meant. Yeah.
Councilman Marable, can you help if somebody needs a chair right there?
I'm sorry?
Ms. Baltimore, you need a chair?
You got it. You got it. Pastor got it.
First, let me say, I've lived next door to the church for over 40 years. And you've always been a good neighbor. And I feel really protected because I know all of you over there praying, so it sort of helps me right next door. And I got to know Pastor Baltimore quite well in his going and his comings and making sure that everything was okay with the church. And I would always tell my husband when it snows, make sure you use the snow blower and blow up so they can get in on Sunday. But this resolution is from the whole council. A resolution celebrating the life of Reverend Leslie E. Baltimore, offered by Councilwoman Member Donna Williams and the whole council, because I think Donna is a relative. Yeah, she's her uncle, but we all share in this resolution. Whereas the City of Orange Township, New Jersey, joins family and friends to mourn the passing of Reverend Leslie E. Baltimore, who departed this life on Monday, June 10, 2013. And whereas we come together during this time of sadness to pay tribute to and celebrate the life of Reverend Leslie E. Baltimore, who was a central and vital force in his family and community. Reverend Leslie E. Baltimore was born in Orange, New Jersey on August 9, 1933. To the late May Ashley and Strother Asbury Baltimore. He was educated in Orange Public School System and graduated from Mount Clair High School. He He was married on June 25, 1955, to his lifelong sweetheart, Elizabeth Cook, or Betty Boop, as he passionately referred to her. The loving union produced a beautiful and devoted daughter, Leslie. Whereas Reverend Leslie Baltimore enjoyed a successful and fulfilling career after serving his country and receiving an honorable discharge from the United States Army. He was employed at Ace Bedding and W.B. Woods as a driver and furniture refinisher until he retired. And whereas Reverend Leslie E. Baltimore accepted his faith in Jesus Christ at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Orange, New Jersey. In 1959, his family and he made the Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church in Orange his permanent church home. This was to be a blessed and wonderful relationship that would last for 54 years and would see Reverend Baltimore serve faithfully and diligently. He served Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church as an usher, trustee, church clerk, and deacon. While serving, he was called even further and was ordained a minister on October the 20th, 1978, and a reverend on May 11, 1986. Reverend Baltimore's crowning achievement in the service of his faith came on December 19, 1999, when he was named pastor of Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church, a position he served in honorably until his retirement in September 2012. And whereas Reverend Leslie Baltimore led a stellar life and will be remembered as someone with a heart full of humility and a soul generated by love, who strived to make a difference. His legacy of comparison, patience, wisdom, and sincerity and love would always be a source of joy, inspiration for those fortunate to have known him. And therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Orange Township hereby offers their sincere condolences to the family and friends of Reverend Leslie E. Baltimore. And be it further resolved that the City Council urges residents, by the passing of this resolution, to do random acts of kindness towards others in member of Reverend Leslie E. Baltimore. And this is presented. And I just want to say, if you guys don't mind, since the public doesn't know, that the new pastor of Mount Carmel, who is
Pastor Stackhouse.
Reverend Stackhouse, is the newly installed pastor at Mount Carmel Baptist Church, a young person that I met years ago. So that's it. Reverend Stackhouse, raise your hand so people. He is the newly installed pastor, and he's following in some huge footsteps, but he can do it. We know he can do it. So, and I see that you guys have embraced him as your young son. So, congratulations to him also. And I want to present this to Mrs. Baltimore. And if you want to make some remarks. No, I'm
Pastor Stackhouse.
Well, Leslie
You wanna
can make some remarks, and then we will ask the new pastor if he want to make some remarks.
We just want to say thank you from our family and our church family. We just want to say thank you to the City of Orange. My dad was just a humble man, and God bless him. He's at a better place, and we just thank you once again.
He coming up. Did you want to speak? You want to speak?
Reverend Stackhouse is coming.
I did not mean to prolong this event. First of all, we just want to say again, in the words of Sister Leslie, thank you for recognizing the work of Reverend Leslie Baltimore and what he has contributed not only to the church but into the community. And one thing I know for sure is the shoulders that I stand upon. We don't erase history, but we build from it. And I'm thankful for his spirit of humility, his spirit of dedication, and we look forward to engaging in more events, more things that pertain to the city and trying to make a true impact for its people and its children. We're not about just staying inside those four walls. You know, when we think about the move, how Jesus was and his movement is that he went outside the temple. He went to the ostracized, the marginalized, and those who people did not care about. And in that spirit, that's how we move. And again, we just say thank you.
Thank you. Council members, can we just kind of, just because we have some elderly council members, can we just stand right over there and just take a picture with them in the plaque real quick? Because it's kind of hard for them to complicate. You can just take a picture. So we're just going to take a picture.
Ladies go first.
Stand right behind them. We have one of these videos.
Too glad I remembered your name. God, I remember it. Yeah, Johnny White. Johnny White. I said it. What's wrong with this?
You got it? You got everybody?
I'm kind of tired.
At one time, believe it or not.
Here we got 428. Thank you. Give everything you've done. Just make sure it's
You know, it's an old incident. He went for an MRI today.
Did you give us back?
We're ready?
He
Wait,
wanted to
but
make sure
Councilwoman,
that, you know-
1, 2, how many people are seated? 1, 2, 3. Councilwoman Lisa. Councilman Corbett, 1 o'clock. While we wait.
Want me to go or wait to wait?
It should make our way back, yeah. Y'all will pass each other.
It is my duty and it is my pleasure to present to the Harrington family this resolution. So I will ask the Harrington family to come and gather around me.
This baby.
It's a resolution celebrating the life of Brenda J. Harrington, sponsored by the Honorable Donna K. Williams and the entire council of the City of Orange. Whereas the City of Orange Township, New Jersey joins family and friends to mourn the passing of Brenda J. Harrington, who departed this life on Tuesday, November 5th, 2013. And whereas we come together during this time of sadness to pay tribute to and celebrate the life of Brenda J. Harrington, who was a central and vital force to her family and community. And whereas Brenda J. Harrington was born in Orange, New Jersey on July 12, 1946, to the late Arthur H. Harrington Sr. and Hazel A. Barcliffe Harrington. She was educated in the Orange Public School System and graduated from Orange High School in 1964. She enjoyed the relationship with the love of her life, the late Terrence L. Marable, formerly an Orange police officer. To them was born a loving son, Darrell. And whereas Brenda J. Harrington enjoyed a successful and fulfilling career at Macy's as a personal shopper and sales associate for 10 years before she moved on to work as the Assistant Secretary and Personnel and Benefits Liaison at the Essex County Juvenile Detention Center. She served with distinction for over 30 years. And whereas Brenda J. Harrington was a pioneer in that she was the first African-American woman to serve within the administration of the City of Orange Township when she became the secretary for the city's Rent Leveling Board and Zoning Board of Adjustments. And whereas Brenda J. Harrington, at an early age, accepted her faith in Jesus Christ at the St. John's Methodist Church in Orange, New Jersey, she also attended Sunday school at Union Baptist Church, where she was a Sunbeam and a Girl Scout. She later joined the Mount Olive Baptist Church in East Orange, New Jersey, which became her permanent church home. She served her church family as a member of the Hospitality and Culinary Ministries. She also served as a pastor's aide to Reverend Russell Fox Sr. and Reverend Michael J. Jordan. And whereas Brenda J. Harrington led a stellar life and will be remembered as someone with a heart full of humility and a soul generated by love, who strived to make a difference. Her legacy of compassion, patience, wisdom, sincerity, and love will always be a source of joy and inspiration for those fortunate to have known her. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Orange Township hereby offers their sincere condolences to the family and friends of Brenda J. Harrington, and be it further resolved that the City Council urges residents to do random acts of kindness toward others in memory of Brenda J. Harrington. Adopted November 18, 2013. Congratulations.
On behalf of my family, I would like to thank the City Council, the City Administration. My mother was a lifelong resident here, 67 years, and just blessed to give whatever she could, taught by my grandmother and my grandfather, that community is about as important as family. It takes a village. So on behalf of my daughters and my family, I'd like to thank the city for its kindness during our time of bereavement. Thank you very much.
Council members, Darrell's a little bit younger, so he can come up here and take a picture with us. Let's all stand around real quick. We all here? You want to get up front with your red sweater? Councilwoman Jones Bell?
Good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening.
Will the Honorable Reverend Jackson come on up?
Bishop Jackson.
Honorable Bishop Jackson, come on up. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. On behalf of the entire council, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. Bishop Jackson, congratulations on your elevation. Your commitment to our community, both locally and abroad, has prepared us for this moment in time. Wishing you, Sister Christy, Regina, and Seth continued success as God moves you forward to your next assignment. We know that the City of Orange Township will always be a part of you, as you will always be a spiritual resource for us. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy, to the only wise God, our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and ever. Amen. Jude 1:24 and 25. To you. You're welcome.
To the council president, members of the council, and to my sisters and brothers, let me thank you so very much for this. I am deeply appreciative, and it has been my joy over the almost 35 years that I've been blessed to live in Orange, to try to do what little I could to improve the quality of life of the city. I'm especially pleased to have had the opportunity to serve for a number of years on the Board of Education. And as I look around at this city council, to have had something to do with almost all of you all, I'm pleased that 2 members of this council were former members of St. Matthew Church. And so while I am most of the time out of the city now, whenever I'm in the city, I'm interested in what's happening in Orange and wish Orange all of the best. Thank you again so much, and I pray God's blessings on you as you carry on the work of the city.
Councilwoman Bishop Jackson, before you leave, Councilwoman Easton, did you have something? Or you wanted to correct him?
We are not former. We're still currently members of St. Matthew.
I thought I said former members of St. Matthew.
You said former members.
Oh, I mean when I was the pastor, yeah. So the former pastor, the members of St. Matthew.
You left us. We didn't leave you. Bishop Jackson, if you could just come take a picture with us real quick.
Everybody except Tennessee.
You want to lay hands on Tennessee? Lay hands on Tennessee, or lay hands on you.
Let me handle it. didn't break the game.
Okay, that was great. No, we trust you. We've been trying to do this for a year, guys. It's been off and on. Thanks, Bishop.
I didn't know you was
In everybody's package?
I don't have the eyes in the back of my head like you.
In the package. Okay. What's that? Okay. Oh, that's it, we got it. Council members, moving the agenda, we're going over to the corrective action plan. And this is a resolution. And I'm sure by now everybody's had opportunity to review it. Are there any questions of the administration regarding the corrective action plan? No? If not, we're going to move the agenda. Okay.
Council President, I actually do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
With regards to the corrective action plan, I see a number of items that were listed repeatedly.
Can you just go to the number, like for example, under the current fund?
Let me see if I can find it.
It's in your envelope today.
No, I
Okay.
know. Well, and I'll just make some general comments while I'm looking for it. Okay. So my questions relate to a few things. Where it says implementation date, they have years, not dates. That's a concern for me. I find that a lot of the explanation or corrective action in general is kind of like vague commentary and sounds like a goal and not necessarily a corrective action.
Okay. Mr. Matt,
I'm sorry, I'm
you
not
want to do
done.
one question at a time? You want to do your whole list?
Yeah, I'm just going to go through my general commentary.
Okay.
This does not have a number.
It was actually in the package they gave today. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Council President, if I may, based on that, you said we had an opportunity to review it.
I sent it on an email probably a month ago.
Okay.
But you have,
There have been no changes to it since then? That's the same
it's
document?
the same document.
November 27th.
Do you have the one that was in your package today? All right, I'm sorry. The second question, Councilwoman Butler?
No, just, again, general commentary. There were a lot of items that seemed to be not available for review in the assessment. Things like items not closed out, grant oversight was an issue. There were just a lot of things that I thought reoccurred way too many times. So I guess I need to know, and then there was a lack of specificity with regards to the explanation, the responsible party, and again, the implementation date. So I would like some answers to those general comments.
Mr. Mapp, did you get the questions?
Let me attempt to answer, and I have the CFO, so if I need to call upon her, I will. But let me just say that this administration came into office, as you all know, July 1 of last year. And we have inherited a system whereby there have been as many as 50 audit comments. And it's a process that we will continue to work through to make sure that we reduce these comments that have been an issue here in Orange for many, many years. And we will continue to work. We've actually assigned someone to begin to put some procedures in place to address these issues that have been ongoing for many years. And that's what I could say to you at this time. It's a process, and we will continue to work to correct these issues that have been identified.
And the second one, question was it was not specific in its explanation, I believe you said, Councilwoman Butler, and the responsible party is kind of vague, if you will.
And the implementation date.
Could you respond to that?
In terms of all of the comments that you see there, we will do our effort best to address each and every one of these comments, and we will try to do it in as timely and as realistically a manner as we possibly can. For the most part, these financial issues are the responsibility of the CFO and the finance director, and we will work closely with all departments to address these issues.
Council members, any other questions?
Council President?
Councilwoman Easton?
Through you to Mr. Mapp. Mr. Mapp,
Yes.
if I recall, now you guys have been here since July 1st, 2012, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So these issues has been plaguing us prior to this last audit. So why is it just now you were putting somebody in place to address them? And may I ask who that person is? I mean, why is it taking us almost 2 years to address these issues?
Well, I can tell you that the audit report was for the calendar year 2012 that ended December 31st of 2012. This administration took office on July 1st of 2012, half of that calendar year. And I can't sit here and tell you that we could correct systemic problems that have been in place for many years. As many as 50 audit comments. We will do our very best, but we will not promise you that we can create miracles. We will just do our best, put the resources, dedicate the time to fixing these problems that, frankly, should not exist and should not have existed for all of the many years.
Could you tell us who the person is you've signed to do that?
We have one of our members on staff. Her name is Wendy Sykes. And I will say to you and to the other members of the council, it is my policy not to call out members of staff's names at council meetings. But I can tell you that we have put a person who's working with us to put procedures in place.
Councilwoman Easton, you had a follow-up question?
Yeah, I don't know if this is appropriate, and our city attorney can stop me if I... Does she have a financial background? I didn't see that in her resume. Does she have a financial background?
That really doesn't matter.
Council,
We're talking about procedures, policies and procedures. And she's working with the CFO and with myself.
Councilman Marable?
Yes, just along a similar vein, in response to Mr. Mapp's comments and Councilwoman Easton's questions, this notion that we have inherited these problems, there were long-standing systemic problems. Many of the categories list the responsible party as the CFO. And she's been here since 2010. So once again, these are not revelations. They're not things that were unknown to this administration, either by virtue of its stepping into the job or transitioning, being transitioned by people who are already here. So I echo this notion that commencing to address these things, I don't understand the timing of it, but these are not new or inherited problems. These are our problems. And I think the way we're characterizing it does a disservice to solving it. Thank you.
Council President,
Yeah.
I would suggest to any member of the governing body, we have copies of all the audit reports that go back years, and we could make those available to the governing body. The City of Orange went from a paper and pencil system back in the early part of 2012 when we switched to the Edmund system. And so that's what the city has been dealing with, pen and paper, for all those many years. So we will do our best to correct these issues that have existed for many years.
Councilman, thank you, Mr. Mapp. Councilman, any other questions?
And just a final thought, I appreciate Mr. Director Mapp's comments, but again, I guess the statement, "we will do our best," sounds more like a goal than an objective or a plan. And I think that we would like to hear what the plan is, the corrective action plan is going to be, and I think that we really need to set a date for that plan to be introduced to us.
Mr. Mapp, can you, well, council members, what I would say is that, is it your wish that we put this, I mean, this can be on the agenda because it has to be approved, but 6 months from that date or 4 months that we can come back and discuss and see how much of these items have actually been corrected? Is that the approval of the council?
Yeah,
I said 4 to 6 months.
No. I would say more like
3 months?
right, or 60 to 90 days.
Okay,
I would
so
say something like
2 to 3
that.
months, okay. Mr. Matt, we'll put this on for the January, and then we'll have a return date with the update in March, okay?
Whatever is the pleasure of the council.
Excuse me, Madam
Councilman Abdul
Council
Rashid.
President, through you to Madam Clerk, what time do you have me recorded as arrived?
I apologize, Councilman.
7:45.
Thank you.
So, again, it'll be on the January agenda, and, okay, Mr. Matt, we'll put it on the January agenda with a review date for March, okay? Okay. All right. Move the agenda?
The resolutions and ordinances, the resolution and ordinances to be presented at tonight's meeting are listed on the attached regular meeting agenda. If any council member wishes to discuss any resolutions or ordinance, may be discussed at this time.
Council members? No discussion?
Can we go back, Councilman Cookie?
Councilwoman Eason?
Can we do the bill list?
Can you state the number, please, for everybody's also?
422-2013.
Another one? You want to say the page that you're talking about?
Let's start on page 2.
Okay.
Let's start on page 3, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, page.
Page 3. I think we got a purchase order dealing with 115. With my purchase orders.
With invoice 12747, I'm sorry, what invoice number?
Right.
Yes, you say yes?
Yeah. Mr. Mapp, the person that took that course, are they doing tax collection work? I'm looking at my,
The answer is no, Council President, and there's a reason why we do what we do. We are cross-training the employees in the finance department because we believe that is important.
Are you planning on moving tax collection? I mean, it's under finance, but are you planning on moving that back by you?
Counselor, we are simply cross-training the members in the finance department. Finance, tax collection, all that is a part of finance.
For what purpose?
Because we need employees who are well-trained and who could step in and assist whenever there's a need. We do take seriously developing the people in our departments.
But right now, and let me say, I don't have a problem with that, but right now you put into Trenton layoff plan because you're saying we don't have money. Do you really think it's fair to the employees that's currently working that we continue to spend money that could result in them being laid off and asking for furlough days? I mean, I don't have a problem with that. But at a point where we don't have money and you're constantly going to Trenton asking for a layoff plan and furlough days, do you think it's fair to those employees that we continue to spend money that we don't have?
Well, quite frankly, I don't think it is fair for you to characterize the fact of a layoff plan as constantly going to Trenton. We have not done that. We have sent a layoff plan to Trenton once, and we have had conversations with Trenton. But what I can also say to you, and to the members of the governing body and the public, is that there are two types of items in a budget. One is salary and wages, the other one is OE, or operating expenses, and one cannot be used for the purpose of the other.
That's not what... If that is true, then how are you asking us to transfer money from operations to salary and wages in your transfer?
That's what you can do. You can transfer from one type to the other.
But you just said operation expenses, operation dollars couldn't be used for salary and wages.
That is exactly what I said.
So we pulling that council, or do we want to leave it on? It's up to you guys. Because we have $99.
You saying 89?
Tax issues seminar.
I think we have the documents and the person went, so we have to pay for it. And I think if we having a resolution that we need to get passed in terms of employee training that will kind of speak to things of this nature. So I guess council members can think about it and make a decision when we come back.
And I think last meeting, we had the issue with the 311, so we found out that was not a duplicate.
What page are you on, Councilwoman Easton?
Same page.
Yes. It was one receipt, but for two items. One receipt.
So it was not a duplicate.
No. And I believe it was for two different departments, if I'm correct. One
is
was
correct.
for this department, and one was, so that's why they're done separately.
On page 15,
Yes.
is the council satisfied with the purchase with the for $1,212.55? And we questioned that the last time.
Council members? Any questions? We did get the invoices.
Through you to Mr. Mapp, $699.30.
What page? Same page?
Same page.
Okay.
Is that a grant for the safe haven?
No, that is not a grant. That's from the operating budget.
That and safe haven is where?
Excuse me?
Where is it located?
Where's,
What page?
where's Safe Haven located?
Yeah, you ordering supplies. Where is it located?
I don't know.
What page?
Is there anyone from the Recreation Department sitting in the audience?
15? You said 15?
15, yes, sir. Ms. Lascari, do you know? No.
So you guys are paying bills and you don't even know what it applies to?
Counselor, with all due respect, I wish I could sit here and tell you that I know every item that appears on this bill list.
Mr. Mapp, you sign
I
off
do
on the
not.
purchase order, so you should know. You should know. You sign, that's what we're paying you to know. You sign off on the purchase order.
I don't have
So
a
you saying you're
photographic
signing
memory.
off
I'm
on
sorry.
purchase orders and you don't know where the expenses, where the money's going?
That's not what I'm saying. I never
That's
said
what you
that.
just said. You signed off on the purchase order.
Council President, Councilor Easton, with all due respect, I will not sit here and pretend that I know everything, because I do not. But we can get you the information on this, just like we provided so many different purchase orders, we can provide you with this as well.
But before you sign off on a purchase order, you should know where the money is going. These are taxpayers' dollars that we are spending.
I do not have a photographic memory, Councilor.
That's not what I'm asking, Mr. Matt. That's not the question. You're signing off on the purchase order. You should know where the money is going. On
Just a
page
sec.
16,
No, we're gonna come back to it. Page 16?
yeah, and the $500 for Pop Warner, Mr. Matt, we'll resolve that, so we need to take that off of the payment list.
The
Mr. Matt, are you listening?
I'm listening.
So that needs to be deducted. There does not need to be a check issued on that. We resolve that payment.
Page 16, it's the second
That's-
one, Councilman.
Councilor, that's for the council to do.
And Mr. White is here, and he can tell you that we've resolved that one. So he does not need to get paid.
Councilman Easton, did you want to answer for page 15? Did you want to answer for page 15?
Oh, who's here going to answer that? Dr. Safe Haven.
Ms. Root.
Oh,
Ms. Wooten, do you know what that,
the Safe Haven,
you can come to
the
the mic.
$700.
For, it's on the bill
The
list?
Safe Haven office supplies.
Shouldn't she state who she is
Yes.
for the record?
Good afternoon, distinguished council, administrators of the Warren, administrator, I'm sorry, I'm feeling really bad, and citizens of Orange. My name is Adrian Wooten, I'm the Deputy Director of Community Service. The $700 on the bill list, which you were talking about, I think is talking about bookcases and items that are going to be used in one of two field houses. We purchased some things for those field houses, and this is just what we needed before we could open up the field houses. It's going to be placed at Central, and it's also going to be placed at Metcalf Park.
So we're going to use those two locations for a safe haven for the students?
Yes, ma'am.
For kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm looking for the law department.
So as page 16, item number 2 is removed because it has been resolved.
Item number 2.
On page 16, the second item down. If we go to page, Councilwoman Easton, page 17,
The law department of...
those three, did y'all have it on your agenda today? If you go down to gas and electric, where it says utility, street and light, 7,137. Do y'all have that removed on your, those top three are to be removed because it's a duplicate.
7137, 1472, and 24338.
Page 17, the first three, 7,000, 14,000, and 24,000.
Councilman Williams, I don't know, the law department didn't put Winslow's... Does anybody see that on this bill list? Or did I miss it? I have the purchase orders.
Mr. Matt, do you know if that has been removed?
Which page are you talking about?
No. The question,
see it
Mr.
on this
Winslow's,
agenda. Did everyone get copies of the backup purchase orders that was given? Because if you look at them for the law department, there's the purchase order number 1302360, professional services.
You talking about the bill list or the PO we received?
I'm talking about the P, I'm looking at the PO, but I don't see it on the bill list.
What's the number?
1302-360.
It's in, it starts, it's in a pack. It starts with 1302172. Councilwoman Easton, go ahead.
Well, if it's not on the bill list, I'm not going to discuss it, but I think, Council President, a letter needs to be sent to the law department that the purchase order should not be, there's a couple in there that should not be paid, because we all agreed that we would not pay bills that refer to that case.
Yeah.
So we need to go through there, just make sure that a letter is issued and that and CC Mr. Mapp so he will understand that a check should not be cut for those amounts.
Councilmember, is that it with this item, Councilwoman Easton?
I beg your pardon?
Is that it with the bill list?
Page 17. For the 36942, is that for the City Hall security system?
36942, Mr. Mapp?
That is correct. These are monthly charges.
Councilman Williams, I'm done.
Okay. Council members, Council...
Yeah, I'm looking for something, but if someone else has something, I just need a minute.
Council President?
Council Corbett?
Resolution 421, 2013. It's a resolution authorizing the amendment of Resolution 283, 2013.
The void grant?
I'm sorry?
The void grant?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's for approximately $20,000. I have a problem with that verbiage, approximately. Why is it approximately and not exactly 20,000?
Mr. Mapp? 421-2013, resolution.
Council President, I'll ask Mr. Wooten to come forward and answer and address that.
Hello, Adrian Wooten. I'm Deputy Director of Community Service. It should read exactly $20,000 because that's what we applied for, and that's the exact amount that we received for that grant. The initial resolution was changed because the year said 2013 instead of 2014, so we corrected that. So if that's how it's reading, we just need to correct that because it should be 20,000.
Okay. So it's exactly $20,000. That's what you're requiring through your grant.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your detailed description for your objectives indicates that this is to provide adequate staff support who are experienced in providing individual assistance to those with disabilities as part of this arts program.
Right. Yes, sir.
It also indicates that the city will be hiring 2 certified special needs shadow counselors to staff the arts enrichment program on a weekly basis. Are you using this $20,000 for salaries for these 2 certified special needs individuals?
It's a grant. We collaborated with the Board of Education. So this grant is going to pay for the operations of the grant. It's going to pay for supplies. It's going to pay for a director, and it's also going to pay part of 6 teachers. If you like, I have a breakdown of the grant that I can email to you. That'll let you know exactly how everything is going to be paid.
I would like to see this, and I would imagine that the rest of the council would also
And I
like
think,
to see it.
if I remember correctly, it was placed placed in the initial, with the initial resolution. So a breakdown of everything.
Okay,
But
so,
I'll email you a copy of what I have.
okay, so in theory, the $20,000 more or less is going to be going to these two certified special needs individuals
And supplies.
and supplies.
Yes, sir.
So we're really not talking about a whole lot of money.
No.
How much will the special needs individual receive? You're asking for two.
As I said,
Go ahead.
it's a collaboration with the Board of Education as well as the city, as well as the Municipal Alliance grant. And that grant is an $85,000 grant that we get for drugs and alcohol. So what we've done was we went to the state to see if we could amend that grant and take part of that grant and put it towards this program as well.
Okay, because on your budget details, it indicates that you're actually going to be spending $24,000 as opposed to $20,000. And you have indicated marketing expenses of $4,000. Do you have any idea what all that is going to consist of and where that additional $4,000 is going to come from?
Does it have void written beside the
No.
the 4,000?
No.
I think if you look at that form, I think it has void written beside certain numbers, if I remember correctly.
It certainly isn't listed.
4,000 says funds from other sources.
Right, there's nothing there that says void, correct?
No, but it says from other sources.
Right, it says from other sources. I'm trying to get to what are those, or who are those other sources? Because it's certainly going to exceed the $20,000.
As I said, we're going to take part of that money from Municipal Alliance if we're able to get that grant amended. The grant was changed, Municipal Alliance grant was changed this year. It's going from a calendar year to a fiscal year. And also the criteria to obtain this grant has also changed. So in looking at the participants in prior years of who had the grant with the City of Orange, it was determined that some of those programs we can't do this year because of the change of the grant. So therefore, if we are given that amendment to the grant, we can use some of the money from Municipal Alliance to go into that grant. We chose Cleveland. Well, we did research with the Orange Police Department. They gave us information regarding the grant. And we were looking for research that had something to do with drugs and alcohol in the City of Orange. So we found out that there were two schools that were most impacted by drugs and alcohol. That was Oakwood Avenue and Cleveland Street. We chose Cleveland Street because Oakwood Avenue is partnering up with Montclair State, the Orange Board of Education, and maybe the Dodge Foundation to do a community school. So we chose Cleveland because Cleveland didn't have that over there in that ward, and we felt like the children that go to Cleveland would do good with this program.
You didn't feel that the high school would have been one of those schools that have issues with drugs and alcohol?
Well, based on the information that we got from the police department, it was a certain area of the city. So the targeted area of the city was going to be the East Ward and the North Ward. And this was based on arrest and based on why and what people were arrested for.
Could I ask one quick question?
Sure, go ahead.
Ms. Wooden, Cleveland is not handicap accessible, so that can't go under. You know there's no handicap accessibility at Cleveland, right?
But people with disabilities, they have disabilities not only do they need a wheelchair, you can be disabled by having asthma, there are different types, you could be autistic, there are different types of disabilities.
I understand, and this is one of the questions I have for the Board of Education. Cleveland, all schools should be ADA accessible. Cleveland is violating that right now, so I want to know, but if you say, I'm in a wheelchair, I have asthma, and I can't come to Cleveland, where am I going?
Well, we've also been asked by Forest Street School to do the same program at Forest Street School as well. But what I'll do is I'll go back to the Board of Education and discuss that matter with them. And even if you would like to be present while we discuss that, I can contact you to see if you're available to talk to them about that.
Yeah, because I don't want a parent to say, I want my child to go to Cleveland, and we can't accommodate them, because that becomes discriminatory. So
Right.
we need to make sure that be careful when we start dealing with handicap and disabilities, that we make sure that the schools give having these programs that are handicap accessible. Because that's one of the downfalls at Cleveland right now, which I'm addressing with the Board of Ed, because I don't know how the ADA has allowed them not to make that school handicap accessible.
Yes, ma'am.
So the school district currently does not have individuals already on staff who are certified in this area to help in this program?
Whenever we wrote the grant, we came into a problem. They do have people who can teach this, but those people don't want to work the after-school hours, so we can't obligate them to work those after-school hours.
So who will be the program coordinator for this?
We have chosen, we are connected to a program, what's the name of it, where the principal of a South Orange Middle School is going to be the program director of the program.
Who is that?
His name is Kevin, I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name right now.
So what's your role? Do you have a role in this at all?
No, it's just coming out of my department.
Oh, okay, because on another document that is listed as Schedule A, personnel, it has you listed as program coordinator.
Well, no, I'm not the program coordinator.
Breaks down your salary, your weekly hours, and how many hours you are projected to work per week or per day on this project.
No, could you please send me a copy of that, because I'm not aware of that. I'm not the program.
Yes, it's not accurate. This document is not accurate.
No,
It's not accurate at all. So it puts the council in a difficult position.
Did we submit that to you?
Yeah, it's attached.
It was not municipal, but Millennium actually wrote the grant, so maybe they put my name in that schedule for grant purposes, but I'll find out for you. But I'm definitely not the program director or manager. It's just coming out of my department.
So what's the urgency behind this grant?
I'm sorry?
What's the urgency behind this? Does this have to be approved tonight? There's some type of deadline behind this?
It is. We were recently approved for the grant, and if we don't get your okay tonight or before January, we won't be able to receive the $20,000.
Now, that puts me in a tough position because of the documentation that I just mentioned to you that's attached here. If you're not going to be the coordinator for the program, then that piece shouldn't be here. And that, because it clearly indicates that that's your role in all of this. Okay. And if that's not the case, then this should not be here. So I guess we can amend it, Council President, or any other suggestions that the council may have. I mean, I just don't like that piece attached to this at all.
But you know what? Just a comment here. On the first page, the application for grant funds, she's listed as the program contact person, as opposed to what the Schedule A says, program coordinator. Maybe we could even remove it and ask them to resubmit.
I'm thinking, this is it actually came up at the last council meeting. Councilwoman Goldberger?
And just a last comment, 3 pages from the back of the ordinance, it looks like the $4,000 is coming from the City of Orange General Fund.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
The orange.
City of Orange General Fund.
That's another issue that this council is having with that. Okay. I mean, if we are so financially strapped and looking at layoffs and things of that nature, why would we tap into our general fund $4,000?
Okay.
I don't want you to think that this is a knock on you. I want to be clear with that.
I'm not.
All right.
I'm not.
Okay.
Mr. Matt?
As Ms. Wooden has indicated, it's coming from the Municipal Alliance grant.
The $4,000?
No, that wasn't my question, but go ahead.
Okay,
What's coming from
sorry.
municipal? No, go ahead, what's coming from the municipal line?
It's a total of $24,000, a grant of $20,000, matching funds of 20% for another $4,000. And Ms. Wooten has indicated that we will be also using a municipal alliance.
For the 4,000?
That's where it would come from.
Mr. Knapp, going back to that Schedule A, do we have the information to substitute that person's information in?
The person that Ms. Wooten made reference to?
Yes.
I can get you.
No, personally, I don't, but one of the things that I would love to impress upon the council is that this is money that will benefit the city of Orange, and that we should look at substance and not let form prevent us from doing what is right for the city of Orange.
Council President, I can appreciate all that Mr. Mapp just indicated. I mean, you're talking about doing what's right. There's a lot of things that we can do right that we have not been doing right for the city of Orange and by its people. And with us being in a financial crunch currently, I have an issue with us taking from the general fund, which is stated here in this resolution, has backup documentation, that we will be taking $4,000 out of the city of Orange general fund. It doesn't indicate any other source. Now, so if we're going to do things right, let's do them right.
Council President. Councilwoman Eason?
Ms. Wooden, just a clarification. Is this an application, you said the grant was already approved, or is this a resolution to apply?
No. The grant has been approved.
But this resolution, and our attorney can help me if I'm, is saying to apply for the...
They're changing from a calendar year to a fiscal, so it's for the additional 6 months.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but the resolution itself is to not to accept the grant. And she said the grant has already been approved. It should be a resolution to accept the money.
This resolution authorizes the application, but if there is a pending approval once the application is received, it's not to accept the money, it's probably to authorize the necessary documents to be executed to apply and, apply and then hopefully receive the money. So in that, I don't know that there can't be some other examination later upon acceptance, or that there can't be a resolution to ultimately decide whether you're going to accept the grant under the conditions that it comes to the city, which I think is what the councilman is raising.
Yeah, it says it's a resolution authorizing the amendment. We accepted it back in, I think, July, so we're amending it to extend the 6 months, I believe.
But the bottom says, the City of Orange Township wishes to submit an application. So somewhere or another, the documentation is not correct. To submit an application for funds under this program. Says nothing about it has been approved and that we approve.
Council President.
It's just saying this is an application to submit an application.
Mr. Matt?
Yeah, Council President, if you recall, there was a resolution earlier in the year, and there were some flaws with that resolution as was presented here to council in terms of the date, and so this is to amend that earlier resolution, but this is to amend...
And extend.
Right. Now, what has been done here in Orange in the past is that there have been 2 resolutions, one to apply for and then a second one to accept. I have been telling our departments that going forward, whenever we present a resolution to the governing body on a grant, that a resolution will state to apply for and to accept. and it will be a one-step process, as opposed to doing separate resolutions. That's how we will do it in the future. But it appears to me that there was a resolution previously to accept this grant.
Council President,
Councilman Corbett?
if we do it that way, apply and accept, how would the council know that it's been approved?
Please restate your question.
You
I'm not sure.
indicated to do a resolution that will kill two birds with one stone. Apply and accept.
Yes.
All right. So in the past, you have come back for us to accept. So if you do it that way in one shot, how will the council know that it's been accepted?
Now, what that language simply means is that the council is authorized
Or that you've been approved, I should
the
say.
administration to apply for a grant and to accept the grant once the grant has been approved by the granting agency.
How would we know that you've been approved?
You will know because it goes into the budget.
So we would have to wait during the budget process to see if in fact.
If it's prior to the budget process, if it's approved, it gets entered into the budget prior to you adopting the budget. If it's after you adopt the budget, we come back to you with what is known as a Chapter 159 to pull that grant into the budget, so you always know.
As long as you can itemize that specifically what grant is for,
Yes.
we probably could work with that.
It has to be itemized.
All right.
It has to be.
Any more questions? from Ms.
Council
Wooten?
President, I do. Related to that, or just?
No, are you any more questions for Ms. Wooten on this one?
Councilwoman, do you have any more questions? I mean, I've already stated my position on this. There's three items. First, the approximate piece that's in the surface, the body of this resolution, and it's $4,000, and the piece where Ms. Wooten is listed as the program coordinator.
But
I'm not comfortable with those last two pieces included in this resolution.
Councilwoman Williams, that was an issue at our last council meeting.
Right.
And it seems that no matter what issues we raise, at the next council meeting, we're still talking about the same issues, and they never get resolved. So I don't know what's the point of us bringing up anything. This should have been resolved so that when we came here tonight, all of those questions should have been answered, the stuff should have been taken out. But we got the same thing we had last council meeting. Nothing has been done. So I don't know why we would keep discussing the same issues over and over. This was brought up at the last council meeting.
Mr. Mapp, it was a long discussion in terms of the coordinator for this program by both the city council and the citizen. So it was.
I agree.
Okay. All right.
So how do we move forward with this tonight? I mean, it's still on the agenda. It hasn't been pulled. There is a time constraint on this. So how do we deal with it?
My suggestion to the governing body is to amend the resolution to correct the language of the resolution. Ms. Wooten has indicated that she is not the coordinator of the program. I would recommend or suggest to the governing body that we amend the resolution to reflect the correct language, because the grant was awarded, and I would love for the city to accept this grant. So whatever amendments are needed.
What do you say about the $4,000, the additional $4,000 in this grant? How do you amend that? Because it's indicated right here in the body. City of Orange General Fund, $4,000.
I say you amend that to state that there will be matching funds provided by the City of Orange in the amount of $4,000.
Council members, we're in a conference session. These amendments can be made and given to Mr. White, and we can do it before we actually vote on this.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Our next council meeting is January the 7th. Now, we know this is a holiday season, and everybody is closed and off until probably January the 6th. So if our next council meeting is January the 7th, nothing's going to happen between now and then. So why can't we bring it back on the 7th and approve it in its current format and have all the corrections made? It's not going to make a difference.
Well,
You can still
Councilwoman-
submit it in January.
Well, Councilwoman Easton, in terms of the state budget office, I can't speak for them for December 31st. And so if this is an item that has to be by December 31st, as Ms. Wooten represented, that's the...
She said by
She said January.
She said
January.
She said
Before January.
Yes, that's what I said.
Come on, y'all.
Ms.
So
Moore,
my
nothing is going to happen in the next week or two, because it's a holiday season.
Yeah, but you can't change
You
state
can't
law.
change, just budgets.
You know what I'm saying? Is that critical that we can't do it on January the 7th?
According to the DCA, they want the information before January.
So now we're in another situation which we asked back before. We asked to approve something which we have already questioned, and we were approving it because they said there's a deadline attached. I'm not supporting it, so you guys can do what you want.
Councilman, we can come back after, in regular session, and have a conversation with the city attorney. Councilman Marable?
Yeah, my question goes to the bill list.
Yes.
422-2013. Beginning on page 10.
Page 10.
Beginning on page 10, and continuing on page 11, page 12, and page 13, there are in excess of $10,000 of items related to motor vehicles. I don't know if they still do it. It used to be the case that the Channel 5 News would begin with the line, "It's 10 o'clock, do you know where your children are?" Anybody remember that?
They still do it, yes.
It's December 23rd. How come we still don't know where our cars are? And I'm not trying to be funny or elicit laughter, but let me finish.
I'm sorry.
We have been asking and asking and asking for an exhaustive list of the motor vehicles in the city of Orange. We can repair them, we can fix them, we can clean them, we can gas them up, we just can't count them. It is a basic management truism that you cannot manage that which you do not know exists. I mean, that's just basic stuff. If you don't know that it exists, if you can't count it, if you can't quantify it, how can you manage it? How can you oversee it? So I'm just putting it out there, this notion, Councilwoman Easton just said, we bring something up and the next week, this is not even a week-to-week, meeting-to-meeting, this is a month-to-month-to-month-to-month we've been talking about this. So I don't know, I'm not inclined to approve funding for anything related to motor vehicles because I don't even know if those cars exist. And no one can tell us. And that's really bad management. And that's all I'm going to say about it. If someone else would like to speak to it.
What I will say, Councilman Marable, is I did not think it appropriate that item 415 and 414 come before this council.
What page are you on?
I'm sorry, on the agenda. Resolution 414 and 415. I didn't think it was appropriate for those items to be on the agenda, and I spoke to the department head, and it was my understanding that that list would be given to you prior to this meeting, so that we can move forward. And so I'm going to ask the council that we remove those items. I have just spoken to the department head that I wasn't going to even put it up there, but the list was going to be to us this week, and we still have not, I don't believe anybody's received the list.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Let me just say this, and I'm going to go back to my previous comment. We've been back and forth on all of this stuff since July 2012, and we have we're still not one step closer to anything we need from this administration. My thing about that, we can no longer penalize the employees for our inadequacies as a council. Hold it, because the stuff they need for the cars is so the police cars are run, the public works trucks need parts and things of that nature.
Councilwoman Easton, I spoke to the department head, and no.
That's what I'm looking at that. So I'm saying, we keep saying, it says purchase of automobile parts for 2 years. Automobiles cannot run without parts, at least mine can. So I'm saying, we cannot blame we cannot penalize our police fleet and our public works trucks for the inadequacies of this council because we continue to let these things happen. Now tonight, just like, for example, the grant, last council meeting, we had the same questions that we're asking tonight, and nothing has been resolved. So you're saying, well, we're going to talk about it next, and we'll probably go ahead and approve it. But why? That's why we don't get anything done, because we keep looking over things, doing things because they tell us that it's an emergency. If they knew they needed this by December, we should have the answers, and the resolution should have already been amended to reflect what we requested at our last council meeting. So, they say we shouldn't get the parts for the car. I don't agree with that. That's not their fault and it's not our fault.
Councilwoman Easton.
I'm just saying, this is my opinion.
I respect your opinion, but again, I talked to the department head regarding Resolution 414 and 415, and it kind of echoes just what Councilman Marable stated. How can we be asking for a contract if we don't know what fleet we have? And because it's a contract starting in January, he stated to me that, well, first he stated that it could be, but I understand he's out sick today, that he would have it. So,
I still do not agree because
that's
the
fine,
same
and
thing
you're
is,
so noted.
just like you don't agree, I don't, because
Okay,
the same
so
thing
noted.
is, as I've told you guys over and over, until you start handing out some sanctions on these issues that we have requested, nothing is going to happen.
Okay, Council,
So we can't continue to penalize the employees in our fleets
And
because
for the
we as a
record-
council is not doing our job.
Councilwoman Easton, and just for the record, I don't think any council member up here is talking about penalizing employees. What we're stating is accuracy. Council members, any other questions on the agenda? Seeing none, adjourn. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Moved by Councilwoman Jones, Councilwoman Easton, second by Councilwoman Butler. All in favor? Aye. Aye. We adjourn for 5 minutes. Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Any other member from the public?
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Councilman Corbett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Jones Bell on the motion. Councilman
President?
Marlboro.
Yeah, could we have some response from the party
Mr. Portelli?
or council?
Ms.
Mr. Feld and others' argument seems to resonate with me. I want to be clear that I'm not misquoted on this. This does seem to be bass-ackwards to me.
My name is Amelia Riddell. I'm with McManaman Scotland Endowment. We serve as special counsel to the City of Orange with respect to this particular project. What you're being asked to act on tonight is the vacation of a portion of Lackawanna Plaza, which is contemplated by the current draft, the fully executed redevelopment agreement. There is nothing that you're being asked to do tonight that contradicts your obligations under the redevelopment agreement. Under the terms of that negotiated document, the city is to vacate the portion of Lackawanna Plaza. That portion is not being donated to the developer. That portion is being attached to property that's already owned and fee by the city, which is stated in the ordinance. And then pursuant to the terms of the redevelopment agreement, they will be transferred for a price pursuant to a ground lease and by fee to the developer when they're ready to move forward with commencement of construction of the project. With respect to the change in the project, RPM did receive site plan approval last week. It does change the site plan approval that they did receive does change the number of units, but that change in the number of units is still consistent with the terms of the RDA. With respect to the financial agreement, which is what I think Jeffrey Feld is bringing up, RPM did submit amended and restated application for the financial agreement, and the city, it will have to come back before the city before they can proceed with the pilot. So I just want to be clear about the two different issues. Again, the city has an obligation with respect to the street vacation, which is in front of you under the terms of the redevelopment agreement. The changes to the project will be, again, before you with respect to the financial agreement, but it's not anything different than what was contemplated in the RDA. The language, just to be even clearer, the language in the redevelopment agreement says that the project will be approximately 30 units. Site plan approval with respect to the condo portion was for 24 units, so it's a deduction of 6 units.
If those changes were not embraced by the council, where would that leave us?
That would leave RPM without the ability to get a financial agreement, without a pilot. It would leave you without a project, presumably, if they weren't going to proceed. You would have a vacation of a portion of the street that's still owned by the city. We're not transferring anything to RPM at this time. Should the project not proceed, we have obligations under the redevelopment agreement. I don't know how at this point you make a determination not to move forward.
What has been presented thus far to the planning board regarding those changes that we may not be aware of?
The developers here, I did not attend the planning board hearing. Obviously, for all of the redevelopment projects, they have to be approved by your planning board. And again, they did receive approval. He can talk about what those changes are with respect to the concept that was submitted in the redevelopment agreement. But it's the administration's stance, I guess, that the changes with respect to site plan approval are not that divergent from what's in your redevelopment agreement. Feld brought up an issue with respect to the pilot agreement. Unlike a redevelopment agreement, the financial agreement speaks to exact numbers. It speaks to dollars, projections that are included in the terms of the financial agreement. And because we anticipate those changing, RPM has been asked to come back with respect to those dollars. But the concept that's included in your redevelopment agreement really follows suit with what it was that they submitted to the planning board. So I can let them speak to what those kind of changes are, but they are what we believe to be conceptual with respect to the RDA. When it comes to the financial agreement, you're talking about the give that was negotiated with respect to the city, that they'd have to come back with respect to that. Does that make sense?
Could we have that? Could we hear that?
I don't have those numbers.
I thought you said you were...
With respect to the concept, right. Yes, absolutely, for site plan approval.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Joseph Portelli from RPM Development Group. I think a little bit of history is useful. So we had initially applied for a financial agreement for the condominium project back in November 2012, and at that stage, the concept was conceptual in nature. You know, we hadn't fully fleshed out the details of the site plan. We went through a couple months of negotiation and analysis, and in the springtime, we came to back to this council in April to approve the financial agreement for the pilot. And at that time, it was approximately 30 units. Subsequent to the April 2013 approval of the financial agreement, we went to the planning board for a preliminary site plan and subdivision approval on May 8th. Some months passed. Back in June, late June 2013, first week of July, two things happened. We had a meeting with New Jersey Transit, at which they advised us of certain guidelines that they have in place for constructing or operating a building within or in the vicinity of the railroad right-of-way, and they require a buffer from the railroad equipment. And so to account for that buffer, we shrank the footprint of the condominium building, which was situated directly on the property line that borders the rail and the property subject of this redevelopment. Right around that same time, we became aware of unit mix guidelines for the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency Choice Program. I don't think we had made it a secret that we were seeking choice subsidy or some kind of subsidy from the state to help finance the condominium project. And those unit mix guidelines indicate that no more than 10% of the units shall be one-bedroom units. So with the reduced footprint and these new guidelines, you have to accommodate fewer smaller units, more larger units within a smaller footprint, thereby shrinking the overall number of units within the project. And back in August, we submitted our application for the choice financing. We have since been approved for that financing, and we look forward to moving forward with that component of the project as soon as we can. And over the course of the summer and the early fall months, we refined our concept even further. We went back to the planning board for final approval this past Wednesday, and they did grant our approval. And again, I'll stress that at the time that we first came up with our concept and presented the project to this governing body, the information that we know now was not available to us at that time. And the application that we presented to you was based on the best information we had available at that time. And the application did indicate that it was conceptual in nature. And, you know, I believe that this is a reasonable explanation. I hope that you will agree, and happy to answer any questions that you might have about it.
So again,
Mr. Feld, Mr. Feld, you are not being recognized. The citizens' comments are closed. The public portion is closed. Mr. Feld.
Could you come here, please?
Yeah.
Can you stand there? Can you stand there? Can you stand there, please? Thank you. We need your assistance.
Everyone have a good holiday. But you were just
Mr. Feld, Mr. Feld. I apologize, Councilman Marable.
so fewer units means lesser parking also, I assume?
Only by a couple spaces. We do have fewer parking spaces, but not by much. 7 spaces, I believe it is.
7?
Only 7 fewer spaces.
And how many fewer units?
6.
6 fewer units and 7 fewer spaces.
It's probably also worth noting that we do have a surplus of parking spaces from what's required by the redevelopment plan, by good cushion.
Okay. I have nothing else right now.
Council members, any other questions?
One.
Councilwoman Jones-Bell?
Thank you. Can you tell me again, I think you said it before, but what are the amount of units now versus condos?
Previously, there were 30 condominium units.
Right.
Now there are 24 condominium units.
Okay, so now they're 24.
And there's still the mixed use component?
Yeah, the rental building has not changed.
Okay,
There's still 113 units.
okay.
And
Council President?
Councilwoman Gordon Butler?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
When did the project change from purchasing the property to ground lease?
At the time we negotiated the redevelopment agreement, there is a purchase portion and there's a ground lease portion, and we talked about it extensively at that time. The reason why that it has to be, there were several reasons why we had to structure it as a ground lease, but the repayment is pursuant to the terms of the redevelopment agreement. I can get that section to you.
I'd appreciate it because I think that happened prior to me coming on council and I need that information.
We amended and restated the redevelopment agreement on May 9th, 2013.
It was amended on May 9th? I thought it was introduced in January of 2012.
That was the initial, and then we amended and restated in May 2013.
I want it again. I want it again.
And just as a matter of record, the pilot agreement will have to be renegotiated, and that will be coming before us in January.
Right, and just to reiterate, the difference between the financial agreements and the redevelopment agreement is that under the long-term tax exemption law, it requires very specifics with regard to projections, the description of the project, and that's because there's an expectation of revenue. And to the extent that changes, which we anticipate it will, we've asked them to submit a revised application so that you have an opportunity to review those numbers and then vote on them again.
And this is with regards to the reduction of the number of units. I'm sorry, I stepped out for a moment.
No, I was just reiterating while you were here that the pilot agreement has to be renegotiated, and that will be done in January.
Right, and that's with respect to the deduction in the condo portion from 30 to 24, and not with respect to the rental portion, which is still at 113 units.
Any council members, any more questions? Thank you. A motion for final adoption?
We didn't vote on the, where were we?
We didn't vote on what?
Wasn't a motion to close public hearing, and then he was speaking on the motion, was that, I don't remember offering a motion for final adoption.
We
What was
closed
his
it.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. Right, motion to close public hearing.
Roll call.
We did that, and this was just...
Because he had a question on it.
No, we were just answering council questions, I'm sorry.
My question was on the motion.
On the motion of what, though?
I thought we were voting on it.
For final adoption. What do you have?
A motion for final adoption coming up.
They're coming up. We didn't do that yet.
Not yet.
Right.
Got to do the all in favor
Right.
for
For the closing.
session.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion, let me do a roll call. Motion to close. Let me do it. Councilman Abdul-Rashid? Councilwoman Corbett?
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones-Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gordon Butler?
In favor.
Councilwoman Marable?
Yes.
I am in favor as well. Motion for final...
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Jones-Bell. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilmember Abdul-Rashid?
In favor.
Councilmember Corbett?
Yes.
Councilmember Eason?
Yes.
Councilmember God Butler?
Pass.
Councilmember Jones-Bell?
Yes.
Councilmember Marable?
No.
Councilmember President Williams?
Yes.
Councilmember God Butler?
Councilwoman Gordon Butler?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay.
You want to do...
1, 2, 3, 5 yeas, 1 abstention, and 1 nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance table from August 7, 2013, meeting, ordinance 22-2013, an ordinance setting forth an employee tuition reimbursement policy and guidelines of the city or the city township, and amending, supplementing Chapter 23 of the Municipal Code and appendix titled City of Orange Township Employee Handbook of Personal Policies and Procedure. Is there a motion to remove from the table? Seeing none, moving forward. 32-2013, a bond ordinance providing for various capital acquisition and improvements by and in the city of Orange Township in the county of Essex, state of New Jersey, appropriating $9,826,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $8,935,500 bonds and notes of the city of Orange to finance the cost thereof. Is there a motion to remove from the table? Seeing none, moving forward to 37-2013, an ordinance setting outside employment guidelines for the city of Orange Township, and amending and supplementing Chapter 23 of the Municipal Code in the appendix titled City of Orange Township Employee Handbook of Personnel Policies and Procedure. Is there a motion to lift from the table? Seeing none, moving forward to ordinances on first reading.
An ordinance to amend the code of the City of Orange Township, Chapter 200, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Section 200-40, Schedule 9, Stop Intersection, Three-Way Stop, Lincoln Avenue and Frankfurt Street, sponsored by Honorable Hassan Abdul Rashid.
Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt on first reading.
Councilman Corbett,
Second.
second by Councilman Abdul Rashid. All in favor? On the motion, I'm sorry. Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Abdul Rashid.
In favor.
Councilman Corbett.
Yes.
Got it. Councilwoman Eason.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gaunt Butler.
In favor.
Councilwoman Jones Bell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Marable.
Yes.
Councilman Marable, I'm sorry. Yes. Councilwoman Eason is yes. You have 7 yeas, the motion carries. The public hearing will be on January 21st, 2014. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we have ordinance number 5420-13. This is an ordinance to amend the code of the City of Orange Township, Chapter 200, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, to amend thorough streets.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt on first reading.
Motion by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Jones Bell on the motion. Seeing none, roll call. Councilman Abdul Rashid.
In favor.
Councilman Corbett.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eason. Yes. Councilwoman Gaunt Butler. In favor. Councilwoman Jones Bell.
Yes.
Councilman Marable.
Yes.
Councilman Williams is in favor.
Hang on.
It carries.
Okay. Ordinance number 55.
It carries, I just want to see. 7 yeas, and the public hearing is January 21st, 2014.
I should have.
Ordinance number 552013, an ordinance to amend Chapter 15B of the Municipal Code of the City of Orange Township, entitled Environmental Commission.
Motion to adopt.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilman Abdul Rashid. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilman Abdul Rashid.
In favor.
Councilman Corbett.
Yes.
Councilman Eason.
Point of order.
Yes.
55.
Yes.
Just want to say, do you have it in your package?
Yes. 55, we were in the middle of a roll call, but it's in a package.
Abstain. You have it?
She's abstaining.
Councilmember Butler. In favor. Councilmember Jones Bell.
Yes.
Councilmember Marable.
No.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Passes. 5 yeas, 1 nay, 1 abstain.
And the public hearing is on January 21st, 2014. I'm sorry, just a second, council members. Just a second.
Which number? 57.
57. Do you have ordinance, everybody have ordinance 56 and 57?
56, 57, and 58.
57.
6.
56.
Huh? Just 56. Okay. And ordinance 56 was just given to us again, so make sure you have the newest copy. An ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Municipal Code of the City of Orange Township entitled Budget and Fiscal Procedures. Sponsored by Council Hassan Abdul Rashid.
Council President?
Let me do a motion. Let me do a motion. Let me get a motion to, do you want to pull it, or?
No,
Okay,
I
let me just
certainly
do-
don't want to
okay,
pull
let
it.
me
I
get
want
to
to
the
push
motion.
it.
All right, let me get to on the motion. Is there a motion to adopt on first reading?
Move. Second.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilman Abdul Rashid on the motion.
Council President, I just want to make sure that we're clear. It's not given to the council members for a second time. It's given to the council members for a first time because there was an error. So it was never given to them that it should be. So this is the correct form, not that it's changed. I don't want them to think that it was changed in the last 2 hours.
Okay.
So I want to make that distinction.
Thank you.
Council President?
Councilman Marable?
I don't know if this is a question just for general discussion, or perhaps I could address it to Councilman Abdul Rashid. This notion, I'm speaking of paragraph F, that we would schedule hearings to introduce and approve the budget by February 10th upon receipt of the budget from the mayor. I guess I have a hard time assuming or predicting that we're going to get the budget early enough to have hearings by February the 10th. In other words, it almost presupposes you get the budget in January, and I don't think the law requires that we get it that early. So what is your expectation of, why are you optimistic you'll get it that early?
First of all, I agree with you, and I expressed these concerns to the Legislative Research Officer, Kevin, which he can speak to it if he so desires, because typically we get it late anyway. And usually the administrations, even previous administrations, as you know, deliberately or a part of their plan even ask for an extension from the state. But having said that, even if those two scenarios plays themselves out, I think at the heart of the matter it still says that even if we received the budget from them late and accepted the budget by way of voting, that still would give us time to set up budget hearings by no later than March the 31st. And I'm just curious as to why we can't set up temporary budget hearings and then wait to see what they do. And I don't know if that necessarily would preclude us from having budget hearings in stone. And that's why, if you recall very briefly, I asked the business administrator, would he have a problem? I forgot the wording, I'm paraphrasing my own self. And I asked him deliberately at the last council meeting, would they have a problem with setting up budget hearings if he and or the mayor made a phone call and said, all deputy directors, give us your budget hearing availability dates. And he said between him and then I said specifically if the mayor made that phone call, obviously that would happen. And he said it would. And so I'm going to just ask
Councilman Abdul Rashid,
Kevin, if you could
may I just say one thing, Councilman?
You're going to say it anyway and cut me off, so go ahead.
Before legislative, February 10th is the statutory date, Councilman. That's the statutory date. And right now, the February 10th date is set unless the state extends it to another date. But February 10th is the statutory date for council.
That's why, just briefly, Councilman Marable, that's why he used that date as the benchmark date. But if you have any additional questions, I was wondering if you could just speak to that and let him know, because I did ask him that typically we're going to get the budget late, and I don't know what, I'm not going to say they're going to play games, but if we get it on time, that would probably be a first in the history of the last 12 years. But could you just speak to, if you could speak to his concerns or answer his questions as to what your thought process was when you put that down? And him and I touched on that. I brought that to his attention.
Yes, good evening. Kevin Harris, Legislative Research Officer. Happy holidays to everyone. That is correct. I mean, there's not really much more that Councilman Abdul Rashid adequately and accurately stated everything correctly. The sentiment and the intent and the spirit of the ordinance, what it was intended to do, basically in an attempt to, for lack of a better word, perhaps entice or try to
encourage the administration to get the budget in. I mean, one thing that, one of the biggest complaints I think the governing body has is that, we're having budget hearings in the summer and we're approving the budget finally by August. So it was an intent to maybe encourage everybody involved to try to have this done by a specific time so that you don't run into that year where you're approving the budget, later in the year.
Councilman Marvel,
Does anyone recall when the budget was introduced this year? When did we get
It was
it?
probably in May.
I think it was late March. It was a couple of, I know they asked for 1 or 2 extensions. I don't know the exact date.
I think it was April.
It wasn't on time.
It was very late. But first of all, the state gave an extension, which gave them an extension, so it was very, very late. And then finally approved on August 7th.
Lastly, the whole thing of
Just a
this...
second, I just want to make sure
okay.
Councilman Marvel's finished.
No, I'll let Councilman Abdul-Rashid.
Can I speak before he speaks, please?
Well, I have Councilwoman Butler.
Let us do it, then he can come back.
Go ahead, I yield to
Councilwoman Butler.
Eason.
Okay, so, Council President, I just want to make a couple of comments. I appreciate Councilman Abdul-Rashid's ordinance, and the fact of the matter is that is a statutory date, February 10th, and I believe that part of our fiduciary responsibility really is to adhere to the state statutes. And so I think that this is setting the bar where it should be. I don't think that we should set the bar lower than the standard. And if there is an extension, then there is an extension. But certainly we should adhere to what the state is mandating.
Right. Councilwoman Eason?
Yeah, my question to Mr. Harris, if it's already a statutory date of February the 10th, and as I said before, my issue with this is we need to stop putting legislation on the books that we cannot enforce. We can put this on the books, but what is the consequences if they don't? And I think that's what that's what I thought we were trying to do, is drive them to a process where there has to be some consequences if they don't give us the budget on time.
Well, Councilwoman Eason, also, this corrects the...
Yeah, I know that. I saw that here. I know that,
So
but
that's
that's not my question.
No, I heard what you said. I'm just saying, so the first thing is that it corrects that we're still legislating based on a fiscal year. So it
That's
corrects
fine,
that.
that's fine.
So that's one. And then it's just setting a... Councilman Abdul-Rashid, I'm sorry.
No.
No, I asked the question. I was just asking.
She was asking. I think she was asking.
I was asking a question.
Well, Councilwoman, your remedy is the remedy that you always have when the administration does not comply with legislation that you pass via subpoena power, via your investigative process that you undertook not too long ago on a different matter, and ultimately the ability to, if you feel that the administration is not complying. I mean, they say you have the subpoena, you have the whole subpoena issue, subpoena of certain employees, rights notice factors, to attempt to investigate and get your questions answered.
So there's nothing that you could have put in this resolution as a consequence if we don't have it?
What would you suggest? You can make a suggestion, and like I said, I can review it with the city attorney and tell you whether or not that is a viable consequence. The administration is entitled to extensions. The administration is entitled to extensions. So, like I said, I think I understand is what Councilman Abdul-Rashid was attempting, and that's what that's what the resolution is respecting the spirit of. Now, getting the administration to comply, then you would have to get into the authority allowed to you under the code, and you would have to have that dialogue with the administration at the appropriate time via your county council hearings.
This There's no, so what, you saying legally, there's no consequence that you can put in this ordinance to say that if we don't have it by the statutory date, and even if we give an extension, we should still have a cutoff date that said if it's absolutely don't have it by that date, then we need to take some action. Because we were here December last year, remember? Going through budget hearings, and I don't think we need to do that again. And just because they didn't adhere to any of the statutes that was already in place by the state.
Well, again, I think your remedies fall in a couple of different areas. If the budget is not introduced and approved in a timely fashion, wouldn't the administration not come before this body asking for certain temporary appropriations and things to which the council can either refuse to take action on or not take action on? I mean, that's your remedy as a legislative body. If the budget is not presented in a timely fashion,
Attorney Harris, we didn't, I don't remember them asking for any extensions last budget process. They just took extensions. They just took them.
I believe Mr. Mapp did. And I don't want to say he didn't. I don't want him to just say he didn't do anything, to say he did anything that he didn't do. My memory recollects that he did. One of the reasons for the delay was that he had mentioned that they had requested state extensions from the state and things like that.
Council members, can I make a suggestion? This is the first reading. Can we vote, and then if there's any changes so that we can move this along, that you can contact Councilman Abdul-Rashid and go over the changes? Councilman Abdul-Rashid, you had one.
Yeah, one thing, there is a clause that says in the event that they get an extension granted, all hearings shall conclude on a date no later than 45 days after the budget is introduced. Lastly, it's the council's budget hearings. It's the council budget hearings. So to say, well, what can we make them do? I mean, what can we make them do with any ordinances? And the thing should be that if we ask them for budget hearing dates based on an ordinance, that if it's approved, then one, we have to expect them to abide by it. If they don't, then we need to ask them, why are you not abiding by it, with the exception of an extension, which is already outlined with the 45 days it should conclude. But to say, well, they're not going to do nothing, so then that's like saying, okay, everybody get ready to have budget hearings in the summer then.
Councilman?
I don't get that.
Thank you, Councilman Abdul-Rashid. Again, I think we had 2 yes. We were in the middle of a vote and one vote. We were in the middle of one point of order and went back and forth. So if I'm correct, Councilman Abdul-Rashid said yes, Councilman Corbett said yes. Is that correct?
No, we were on the motion.
We were on the motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't vote yet. We were on the motion.
Okay, you're abstaining from the other one. Sorry. Roll call.
Councilman Abdul-Rashid?
In favor.
Councilmember Corbett?
Yes.
Councilmember Eason?
Abstain.
Okay. Councilmember Gone Butler?
In favor.
Councilmember Jones Bell?
Yes.
Councilmember Maribel?
Yes.
Council President Williams?
Yes.
Passes 6. No yeas, 1 abstain.
I did send this to Mr. Smith. I gave it to him long in advance, so he hasn't responded to me. But, you know.
When is this going to be read again?
This will be second reading, January 21st, 2014.
Excuse me, Council President, are you saying no one from the Law Department approved it?
No, they approved it, but
There's
I'm
no
saying...
signature on it.
No, that's because, can you explain that, what happened with the clerk's office? And you're right, and that's why I went in the hallway when they were talking during citizens' comments to say that. That's because I'll let him explain what happened.
Yes, that Kevin Harris, Legislative Research Officer. The original resolution that was submitted was signed by Mr. Smith. The Councilman Abdul-Rashid then, in reviewing the resolution, noticed that there were certain amendments which are outlined by the underlying phrases, particularly in section F, noticed that those should have been appropriately added. It was his intention to have me modify the ordinance, submit it to the clerk, have the original resolution which you had in your packet pulled, and then this one substituted in its place. We did forward copies to the clerk, the deputy clerk at the clerk's office, and the law department. However, Ms. Homer, the young lady from the clerk's office, was not in the office today, who normally receives the ordinances and puts them into ordinance form for presentation to the council.
Sir, bottom line for me, will someone seek to have the law department sign off on second reading?
Mr. White did review it tonight and signed off on it. Councilman Abdul Rashid, perhaps we should give that copy to the clerk.
No, I accept that representation. I just didn't see a signature on mine. I want to make sure that we're not going to find out later that they find it problematic.
During the course of the discussion, because I do believe, we discussed it, and I represented to him that the changes made are within the spirit of the statute and are allowable as such.
Okay.
And Mr. Marable, when I know, Councilman Marable, when I noticed it wasn't signed, I brought it to his attention. He went to Mr. White and had him sign it, but he just signed mine. He didn't have time to run around and sign everybody.
Well, he needs to sign the clerk's copy. That's the one that controls.
Right. Can you make sure you do that, Mr. White?
It's signed.
Okay. He signed it. Thank you.
57-2013, an ordinance amending Chapter 88 fees, Article 1, fees derived from Code Provision Section 88-1. Schedule of fees, setting rates and fees for the use of the sewer system. Is there a motion to adopt on first reading?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilman Abdul Rashid on the motion. Councilman Marable.
Did I understand you to say that someone was going to make a presentation or answer questions, or?
Mr. Mobley, let me see if can you come to the mic, please?
I'm not urging that. I just thought we were anticipating that.
Mr. Mobley, can you come to the mic, please? There are several rate increases on here. What do the rates, which one represents the average household in the city of Orange, and what are the remainder of the rates, and why the need for it to be on the first meeting as opposed to the second meeting?
Well, Christopher Mobley, Acting Deputy Director of Planning and Economic Development, and the liaison for water and parking for the city of Orange Township. The size of the meter that...
Say your title again?
I'm sorry. Acting Deputy Director of Planning.
Deputy. I didn't hear the word deputy. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought there was a change that I knew nothing about.
No. So when you look at the meter sizes, there are various meter sizes. The meter size that pertains to the majority of residential homes, condominiums, is what we call a 5/8. And so when you look at the proposed increase, the proposed increase is 17% for water and 8% for sewer. And it's listed, we went back and we added the existing and the proposed rate. So that if you're looking, the one I'm looking at first is the water system. So the existing for the 5/8, again, that's the majority, residents are going to receive 1,000 cubic feet of water per month before any additional charges. Currently, the existing rate is $34.74.
No, you're on the waters? Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, I'm on the water.
Because you're reading 58, but go ahead. That's okay. Because you can do them both. Go ahead.
Okay. But the amended is $40.65. So the difference, or the increase in that case, is $5.91. Now, again, keep in mind that this is quarterly, right? So that would be multiplied times 4. Let me step back and also say that one of the things that I wanted to do is take a look and see when was the last increase. The last increase that I could see occurred 16 years ago, in 1997. Jack Kelly was the one who did it at that time, and that was when the city was adopting some bonds. In fact, we were getting it back from East Orange. And that's when the last rate increase occurred. Now, I would love to sit here and stand before you and tell you that everything is great and our water infrastructure is fine, but the reality is it's crumbling. It's not fine. And what I mean by that is almost any given week that we have some problem with the water infrastructure, whether it's Councilwoman Easton, I know that you had a situation where there was some flooding in your area. We had to address an area over there. Councilman Abdul Rashid, I know that you had some issues on Lincoln and Highland with respect to some catch basins. We have to replace those. Some of you may know that there was an accident on South Center Street because a manhole fell in, it cracked and actually fell in and a car hit it. But these kinds of things happen all the time. We received a call just last week over on Joy Street where there's the building, a new U-Haul company is coming there. They have massive flooding on that street. So we have serious infrastructure issues that need to be addressed. Unfortunately, they have not been. You may also know that at the Chestnut Street pump station, we have a situation where old transmission mains are leaking significantly, and they need to be replaced. We have two of our wells, the Just Place well and the Orange Park well, that are out of commission right now, and those need to be fixed. So we have a number of water infrastructure issues that need to be addressed, and we haven't had a rate increase again in 16 years as I researched it.
And I believe, just to the question of what appears to be the expedited time, if we would have had the meeting on December 17th, I don't even think it was an expedited time because there was such a long period of time between the second meeting, but they wanted to get it done as soon as possible, so January 7th. Are we still within those dates if we do it on January 7th? What's the need to do it on January 7th as opposed to the 21st?
We wanted to do it as soon as possible, again, just given the dire situation of the system. We wanted to be able to move forward and begin to address some of these issues. If the CFO were here right now, she would be able to stand up and attest that last year we barely squeaked by with the water utility balancing. The fact is that it's not self-balancing, and we had to forego some of the repairs that needed to be made simply because we just didn't have the funding there.
Councilman Rashid?
Council President, through you to Mr. Mobley, I just did the math, and I use my smartphone because it's smarter than me, but if you go by the 5/8 times the amended $40.65, you come out to approximately $288. Did you guys do the math on that?
Yes,
I'm on the 58-2013. The figure that you just underscore as your example.
You're looking at the water system one?
Right.
All right. 5/8.
Right. It is currently 34.74. You're looking, if it's amended, and if this passed, it would be 40.65.
Right, which is the difference.
Right, but I'm saying that's done quarterly out of the month.
It's done quarterly.
Right. So of the month.
It's not done of the year, right.
All right. Okay.
Right.
Okay. But let me just ask you this. Did you guys calculate, you already know what it is based on what the existing is, right? So you already have a income of what you're receiving from these current fees, right?
Yes.
So did you do the math or the projections as to what it would be if this is approved? And where does these monies go to? Does it go, what fund or department does this go to?
Well, this would go to the water utility
fund.
The water utility fund, correct. Okay. So that would be for the operation of the water utility fund.
Okay. Lastly, did you guys do any projections if this is approved on any of these scales?
Yes, and that it's included in the report that you received.
I conclude.
Council members, any other questions? Councilman Marvin?
Mr. Mobley, you'll agree that the decision as to whether or not United Water is responsible to fix, liable to fix, It's exclusively up to them. Let me give you an example. I've asked them to intervene, and one was very public in front of this council, where the council kind of urged them to get involved in a situation that involved a resident and his water system. And their position was, no, that's not our problem, that's not our issue, we're not going to do it, we're not responsible. And that's my point, that we can give them more money, but that doesn't necessitate them getting more involved, being more proactive, or even more responsive.
Well, on the issue with regard to the city's water infrastructure, it's really up to the city to decide what gets done. They could come to us with a recommendation. They could call tomorrow and say that a situation has come up. Now, if it's an emergency and something occurs overnight, they're going to go ahead and tend to it. But generally, if something occurs, they're reaching out to us, and they need to get the authorization from us to move forward. So let me give you an example. If there is, Council President, I know that you contacted me about somebody who was complaining about brown water. And we believe that brown water that they were experiencing was a result of a collapse that had occurred in the street that was being repaired. That collapse occurred, I believe, overnight, but United Water they contracted that out, and they started to get that fixed. So that was an emergency. But if it's a situation like a catch basin, they're going to come to us, tell us that this catch basin needs to be repaired, if they know about it before we do, and then they're asking our permission and authorization to fix it.
At whose expense?
That is at our expense.
But that's my point. If the increase inures exclusively to them, what does that do for us?
Well, number one, it ensures that you're going to have a safe infrastructure. I mean, the fact that we have to pay for that, and that's outside of the contract, doesn't suggest that we should do that we shouldn't go ahead and make that repair. If you have a catch basin that breaks, or you have a manhole that cracks and falls in, that's a repair that the city would have to pay for. If you read the contract, and I can certainly provide that to you, it clearly states that those kinds of repairs are the responsibility of the city. Right? But there are many of those. If you look at the report here, it actually details in 2012 the different types of repairs and the number of repairs and the total cost of these repairs to the infrastructure. In fact, I think in 2012, I'll take a quick look.
Well, Mr. Mobley, also, isn't it to the...
If I can just finish this point.
I'm sorry.
In 2012, what we call repairing placement, there were total cost of $628,967.99. Of that amount, $454,560.91 was for water, and $174,407.08 was for sewer, for a total combined cost of $628,000. I need some glasses.
But Mr. Mo, isn't it to the question that we have outsourced our water department? So this is our water department, and we've just contracted United Water to maintain it because we don't do it in-house anymore. So whether we do it, I don't know if that was a cost analysis, it still costs to maintain the system.
Yeah, that's a good point, Council President. Whether we, and that's a very good point. Whether we had it in-house and we're managing it, or we outsourced it, we would still have to make those repairs.
Council members, any other questions? And this again is first reading. With the return date of January 7th, 2014. Voting on 57-2013, which is setting the rates for the sewer system. Councilman, I'm sorry, roll call.
Councilman Abdul-Rashid?
In favor.
Councilmember Corbett?
No.
Councilmember Eason?
Abstain.
Councilmember Grant Butler?
Pass.
Councilmember Jones Bell?
In favor.
Councilmember Marable?
No.
Council President Williams?
Yes. What's the?
No, we have to go. Councilmember Grant Butler?
I'm going to say no.
So you have,
We have three yeas,
3, 3, and 1.
3 and 1.
So 57-2013 does not carry. An ordinance, moving to 58-2013, an ordinance amending Chapter 88 fees, Article on fees derived from code provisions, Section 88-1, Schedule of fees, setting rates and fees for the use of the water system. Is there a motion to adopt on first reading? Motion by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilman Abdul-Rashid on the motion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilmember Abdul-Rashid?
In favor.
Councilmember Corbett?
No.
Councilmember Eason?
Yes.
Councilmember Grant Butler?
No.
Councilmember Jones Bell?
Yes.
Councilmember Marable?
No.
Council President Williams?
Yes.
Okay. Passes.
You have 4 yeas.
4 yeas, 3 nays.
4 yeas and 3 nays. The public hearing is on January 7, 2014. Moving to the consent agenda. I believe we have 1 walk-on, is that correct?
What number is it?
No, I'm saying I have. And the other, regarding the Roy grant, there was an amendment, there's an amendment for 421. Do y'all have, does everybody have the amendment for 421-2013?
What's the number again?
421-2013.
Yes, I have it.
Everybody?
And he also gave us another one, too.
And that would be,
429.
no, 429 is wrong. That
The
was,
number was wrong.
yeah, that's wrong.
Oh, that should be, okay, I see what happened. Okay, it didn't explain. Okay, I got it, I'm clear.
Okay. And then walk-on is 427. We have that?
427? Got it.
Okay.
427 or 421?
No, 421 is an amendment, 427 is a walk-on. What do we walk
What
on?
is 427?
Mr. Pickle?
Jola?
Is that the resolution to approve the corrective action plan?
No.
Yes, Dylan.
Oh, man.
I'm not clear on the urgency of that becoming a walk-on item.
So we could put, the arrangements have happened, we'd like to present it to the family in January.
In January.
So you couldn't do it in January, present it in January.
You could do it in
I
January.
mean, later on, we were trying to do it, because it happened very expectedly, we were trying to,
We're not presenting it at his funeral, right? So, and also there has to be one for Mr. Louis Haskell.
we can wait till January. Okay, we can do it
So
in
we can do them
January.
both in January.
Okay. So you have the amendment of 421-2013.
Louis Haskell.
Does everybody have the amendment?
Kevin, he may have a little initiative.
Amendment to 421?
Yes. Yes?
Can you get the information there?
Yeah, that's already on the agenda.
No, but do you have the amendment that was given out? Okay. You want to read the statement for consent? Yeah.
We're going to do the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the council member so requests. in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda.
Council members,
Council President,
Councilman Hassan Abdul Rashid.
first one I'd like to be parked is 414-2013.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry, sir.
414-2013.
414, okay.
And then I want to ask you if it's appropriate at this juncture regarding, it was talked about doing citizen comments, and then I believe you uttered that 424 is being withdrawn. By who and the reasoning behind that? Or is it being
424, in agreement with the administration, that's being withdrawn with the administration.
The administration is withdrawing that?
The council put it forth, and in agreement with the administration, we're removing it pending legislative opinion.
We don't understand that.
A legal opinion has to come for this resolution.
In reference to it being...
Well, I didn't ask for it to be withdrawn, so I'm just trying to find out who's the who, and not in the band the who. I'm just saying who is the who.
There's a question, in fact, of the RFQ that was put out, and the legal law office is looking at the RFQ that was put out, and they will respond accordingly.
Through you to Mr. White.
Mr. White, I'm sure he doesn't know about it because it was done through Mr. Smith.
Okay, can I ask?
Do you know, Mr. White?
Can I just ask him a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you speak in the mic?
The RFQ, they're reviewing the RFQ, yes.
And where it came out.
You gotta speak up and speak in the mic.
There's a review of the RFQ and whether the RFQ was proper.
Proper in what respect?
If the RFQ was proper in where the source of the RFQ was from.
Okay, is through you to Mr. Harris, are you cognizant of this?
No, sir.
Okay, I conclude.
So again, 424, 2013 is being removed. The administration wants to move 418 and 419 as well.
And can we remove 422 for a separate vote?
No, I'm just saying what's withdrawn from, let me do the withdrawals first. 424 is withdrawn. The administration removed,
418,
was it 417 as well? Yes, it was 417, 418, and 419.
Wow.
Withdrew 417, 418, and 419.
Okay, but you, Council President,
Yes.
said earlier that 414 and 15 were being removed.
I'm getting to
No,
them.
we're not. We're voting on them separately.
Just a second. And just let me be clear, the administration is withdrawing 417 through 419 since they're not here because there's a date change in there.
I was going to ask for 415 and 416.
Okay.
But we got into a different discussion. I was talking about the other one for a separate. Could we park those two to be voted on also?
You initially said 414. Do you still want
Right,
that?
and I was going to say 414 in addition thereof, and also 416 in addition thereof.
But they're for separate votes, right?
Right, I'm parking them. They're separate votes, separate votes.
Okay. I got you, Councilman Abdul-Rashid. Just for clarification, 414, 415, and 416?
Correct.
Okay. Council members, any others?
Yes, 421-2013
Okay.
and 426-2013.
426? What's 426?
Wanted to take them all, man.
We might as well take them all. And you guys didn't want to stay here and do business.
426? Are there any others? So for clarification, 414, 415, 416 are removed for separate vote. 417, 418, and 419 are withdrawn. 421 is a separate vote. 426 is a separate vote, and 424 is withdrawn. Councilman?
Let's get it on.
I didn't hear Council.
I said, let's get it on.
It's fine.
I know.
None of that, Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris.
This is a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Move.
No, let her read. I'm just reading the numbers.
Okay.
I want you all to listen.
Resolutions number 411-2013, 412-413, 420, 422, 423, and 425.
422 was removed.
No,
but separate vote.
Oh, just for clarification, Councilwoman Easton, you have to address the chair. 422 was not removed.
I removed it. I don't know whether you was listening or not.
Councilwoman
I said
Easton.
422 for a separate
Councilwoman
vote.
Easton.
No, you didn't.
It's the bill
Councilwoman
list.
Easton, okay, I know what it is.
Yeah, but I can't remove
I
it.
apologize.
Let's go back, and I read the numbers off again. So let me be clear again. What's being removed is 414, 415, 416, 417, 18, 19 are being withdrawn. 421 and 422 are being removed for a separate vote. 426 is being removed for a separate vote, and 424 is withdrawn. I'm sorry, ma'am, can you read the list again, please?
Certainly. The resolutions are going to be 411, 412, 413, 420, 423, and 425 that are remaining on the consent agenda.
The motion? Moved by Councilman Jones Bell, second by Councilman Abdul Rashid. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. We go into the separate vote. 414-2013, a resolution awarding a contract to Smith Boring Auto Parts, 10 Elm Street, Montclair, New Jersey, 0742 for the purchase of automobile parts for 2 years commencing January 1, 2014 through December 31st. Ooh, that's a 2016, in the amount not to exceed $150,000 per year. Is there a motion?
Move.
Moved by Councilman Abdul Rashid.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Easton. On the motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilman Abdul Rashid?
Not in favor.
Councilmember Corbett?
Yes.
Councilmember Easton?
Yes.
Councilmember Galt Butler? Councilmember Jones Bell?
Yes.
Councilmember Marable?
No.
Council President Williams?
No. Councilwoman Galt Butler, were you a pass or you a...
I was a pass, so you could come back to me.
Councilwoman Galt Butler, I'm sorry.
No.
Councilman Galt Butler?
No.
Okay, does not pass. Motion is 3 yeas and 4 nays.
Reading 415-2013.
Okay.
A resolution awarding a contract to Select Auto Service, Inc., 52 Washington Street, West Orange, New Jersey, 0752, for vehicle maintenance and repairs to all city-owned vehicles and equipment for 2 years commencing January 1, 2014 through December 31st, 2016, in the amount not to exceed $97,570 per year. Is there a motion? Moved by Councilman Abdul Rashid. Was that Councilman Abdul Rashid? Councilman Abdul Rashid?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Corbett on the motion.
Councilwoman Williams?
Councilwoman
I just
Easton?
have one question, and I guess maybe it's me. So when the police cars break down, and you guys were talking about response time last week, and they have no parts to fix them, what are we going to do?
That's what I'm saying.
What are we going to do? I mean, some of the decisions y'all make, I can understand. You vote on one thing when it's in dispute, but the things that's going to really help the residents, you vote no on. How are they going to get the cars fixed? How are you going to have police cars on the road if they don't have parts? What do you suggest they do? Don't put them on the road?
Is that it, Councilman Easton? Any other council members?
I don't want police cars on the road if they're accompanying
Councilman Marable?
people in the city to go to concerts in New York. And I don't differentiate between police cars and any other cars. They're all city assets, they're all valuable, they're all important, and we're entitled to know what those vehicles are.
Councilmember, I'm not
Councilwoman
disputing that,
Easton,
but these are the
Council-
emergency vehicles that need to be on the road.
No.
All the more reason to have a list of them.
Roll call.
Councilman Nabil Rashid?
Not in favor.
Councilman Corbett?
Yes.
Councilman Easton?
Yes.
Councilman Gobb Butler?
Not in favor.
Was that not?
She said not.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Jones Bell?
In favor.
Councilman Marable?
No.
Council President Williams?
No.
Motion does not carry. 3 yeas, 4 nays.
Okay, so we're moving to 416-2013. A resolution awarding a contract to American Wear, Inc., 261 North 18th Street, East Orange, New Jersey, 07108 for a public works uniform rental and cleaning service for 2 years, commencing January 2014 through December 31st, 2016, in the amount not to exceed $11,960 per year. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Jones Bell on the motion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilman Abdul Rashid?
In favor.
Councilman Corbett?
Yes.
Councilman Easton?
Yes.
Councilman Gobb Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Jones Bell?
Yes.
Councilman Marable?
Yes.
Council President Williams?
Yes.
Passes 7 yeas.
We're voting on 421-2013 as amended. A resolution authorizing the amendment of Resolution 283-2013 for submission of an application to the State of New Jersey Department of Community Affairs Office of Recreation for funding under the 2014 Recreational Programs for Individuals with Disabilities Grant, Mr. Royd, and authorizing the mayor to sign any applications or contracts that are required. Is there a motion?
Move.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Jones Bell on the motion.
Council President.
Councilman Marable?
Council President, I received, and I'm assuming all council members received, a December 23rd memo from the city clerk's office, Madeline Smith. It speaks to information having been received from a city employee who, quote, has been working on the city grants. Does anyone know this individual's title, who he works for, what he does?
Do you want the clerk to ask?
If anyone knows,
Okay.
that's not speculation.
He works down on the first floor with the seniors, and he also has been working on the city grants.
Would his name be Mr. Lewis?
Yes, it
Louis
is.
Copeland? Yes, Louis Copeland?
Well, I guess my question is not where he works, but what is his title? I don't recall him on our roster of employees at budget times. There's been a lot of discussion about people being added to the payroll that we have no knowledge of. I don't know him to be an employee.
Council President,
Councilman Abdul Rashid?
in conjunction with what Councilman Marable is saying, again, at the risk of being redundant, I specifically asked Mr. Mapp, and I know he's not here, and I gave him that person's name, and his response was he didn't want to discuss personnel matters or names at the city council meeting, and that's so I don't know that person's title, if in fact that's the same person that we're speaking to, because with all due respect, you didn't seem too sure, but maybe you didn't know specifically, or one of those things where you know, but you don't know his specific information. But that's all I can add to
Hey,
that.
Council President, just to be clear, I'm not discussing his employment. I'm not discussing him by name. I'm saying we're getting information from him that is supplementing our decision-making as it relates to this particular item. I think we have a right to know who he is, what his title is, and what qualifies him to give us advice or make a recommendation. That's all I'm saying.
And what I was saying to that was, you had, in earlier comments, you said that people were coming in that we didn't know about. I'm saying to you that that's in fact of one of those gentlemen, and that's in fact why we don't know his name or title. And that's why we're asking these questions. And that's what I'm saying.
Mr. White, do you happen to know his title?
I don't know his title.
Okay.
All right, I don't want to beat it to death, but
Ask and answer. So again, to vote on 4/21/2013 as amended, roll call.
Councilman Abdul Rashid?
I'm voting on that because of the gut of what the resolution represents. In favor?
Councilman Corbett?
Yes.
Councilman Easton?
Abstain.
Councilman Grant Butler?
In favor.
Councilman Jones Bell?
Yes.
Councilmember Marble?
no.
Council President Williams?
Yes.
Passes 5-1, and one abstention from Ms. Easton.
Moving to the bill list, 422-2013. Before, what we didn't do, let's see what I'm sorry. Did you take those amendments out?
We took a few of them out. We don't have a tally.
And that's the ones, I'm sorry, Councilman, that's the one that you got from the CFO that you circled?
Yeah, the ones that are...
The ones that are in red, right?
Oh, wait, I didn't have mine in color.
Council members, the CFO again has asked that we remove some items because various reasons. So on page 1, the CFO asked if we can remove 695 towards the bottom.
What's the dollar amount?
$695.
That came from the administration?
That came from Joy Lascari, the CFO. Yeah.
Administration, okay.
Yes. The second one, I believe, is on page 17. This is yours, madam. Again, under the gas and electric, if we can remove the top 3, the 7,000, some odd, 14,024, because those numbers are actually the 34,000 added. So she asked that we remove those top 3.
So that's the 7137.73.
And 14,782.93.
And 20.
And 24,338.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Thank you.
Ms. Easton wanted page 16, 500.
Yeah, just the 500.
On page 16 of 500, because that has been dealt with.
Page 16?
Yes, the second number down, 500. I think that was
You said 500 or 400, Ms. Nisha?
500.
Second line down.
Okay, got you.
Okay. So we're going to vote on the bill list as amended.
I'll get the figures, the correct figures to you tomorrow, as we did last time.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
Move. Second.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilman Abdul Rashid. On the motion, seeing none, roll call.
Councilman Abdul Rashid?
In favor?
Councilmember Corbett?
Yes.
Councilmember Easton?
Yes.
Councilmember Grant Butler?
In favor.
Councilmember Jones Bell?
Yes.
Councilmember Marable?
Abstain?
Council President Williams?
Yes.
It passes 6 yeas, 1 abstention.
And now we're moving to 4/26/2013, a resolution for the transfer of appropriations for calendar year 2013 operating budgets in accordance with NJSA 40A:40-59.
426.
Did I say 4? I'm sorry, 426. I said 426?
You said 426.
No, I'm just asking you,
Oh, yes,
426.
yeah. Sorry.
I just wanted to know which one we were talking about.
So 426, 2013. No, I'm sorry. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Jones Bell. On the motion, Councilman Marable, nothing? Did you have anything on the motion? No? I'm sorry. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilman Abdul-Rashid?
In favor?
Councilman Corbett?
No.
Councilmember Easton?
Yes.
Councilmember Grant Butler?
In favor?
Councilmember Jones Bell?
Yes.
Councilmember Marable?
No.
Council President Williams?
Yes.
Passes 5 yeas, 2 nays.
Motion carries. Motion by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Jones Bell.
Do we have any other pending business?
Excuse me? No. Motion to...
Yeah, you have one piece. You have one piece. Motion to adjourn.
What you missing? Councilman Abdul-Rashid, you have 1 second? Huh?
No. Do I have 1 second?
Yeah, I do.
No, I don't have no second.
Please. Well, motion to adjourn by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilman Jones Bell.
Thank you.
Need to locate a library near you? This website, sponsored by the New Jersey State Library, will help you locate